Continuing with chapter 9, Raja Vidya Rajagusha Yogam. Last time I explained about verse 9. This time about verse 10. Verse 10, I just read out. Um, Maya dakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. So I'll read out again. Maya adakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. This verse, if you look at word by word meaning, Maya means by me, Adhikshena means as a supervisor, Prakritihi means nature, Suyate means produces, Sacharachara means Sacharachara means the moving and the unmoving, Hetuna means by cause, Anena means by this, Kaunteya means son of Kunti, Jagat means the world, Viparivartate means revolves. So he under his supervision, the world is created, and world consists of moving and unmoving things. So we may get the doubt that why God has created. So if we refer different books, they have given different reasons. According to Swami, to love himself, he created the human beings. If he is alone, no one was, praising him. No one was praising him, and no one was loving him. So he created human beings. That is what the Swami has given. But some says that he won't enjoy the creation. He won't interfere. Also, he just created the world, and again and again, kalpadaya kalpadaksha, again and again he just keeps on creating the world. So yeah. So the word again the Maya Dakshena Adhyakshena means the illusionary external energy directed by the Lord Krishna, which manifests Prakriti, the material, uh, pervading physical existence and the creation of all moving, immovable living entities again and again in a continuous cycle. As I told, he just creates continuous cycles. Kalpadaya, Kalpadaksha, he just creates without he under his supervision, everything is done according to our karma. What we eat, what we drink, what we do, the karmas, we have to suffer. If we do good karmas, we'll get good things. And if we, I mean, example, if we eat the junk food, we are going to suffer. Same like the karma also. So he won't interfere, and he won't have. I mean, so many in the world, so many human beings, so many. 89 lakh species are there. He won't check each and individual. According to our karma only, we get everything. So he just do the supervision. He don't have any connection with individual. Like he won't check. He won't check. He won't suffer also. He won't have the sympathy also for each one. Whatever we do, we have to whatever karma we do, according to that we are blessed. So although the supreme lord is the cause of the reason, the inverse, he is the cause and the reason the inverse revolve. He has no connection to prakriti. Thus, dominant and indifferences are not incompatible for him. So he is saying, so here he don't have connection with Prakriti also. He is saying he just created sun, water, everything, sun, water, everything, and he has set a rule. According to that, everything works. He has no connection with Prakriti also. He has no connection with individual also. He just everything goes according to the rule. If we drink water, our thirst will be when we feel thirsty, our thirst will be removed. If we go under sun, we get sun rays. So he has set some rules. According to that, it works. Under his supervision, everything works. So he has no connection. Finally he's saying he has no connection with the Prakriti also. He has no connection with Prakriti also. The Lord uh, presides only as a witness. Nature does everything. So, as I told, nature does everything. He has created sun, water, rivers, and everything. Here, nature does everything. By reason of his proximity or presence, nature sends forth moving and unmoving. The prime cause of this creation is nature, for the moving and the immovable and the whole inverse. The root cause is the nature itself. Although the actions are done with the help of light, in the light, we do so many things. The sun cannot become the doer of the action. Same way, the God also, we do everything, and he just witness it. He won't give any fruits of actions. Even so, I mean, whatever we do, he give the fruits of that action. He just witness whatever. Like sun, God witness everything. Krishna also witness everything. Even so, the Lord cannot become the doer of action, even though the nature does all action with the help of light of the Lord. As a Brahman illuminates avidya, ignorance, the material cause of this world. So it is regarded as the cause of this world. So, and also the Supreme Lord is unequal, sovereign mystery. So we cannot understand his power. His infallible his unexcelled dominant over all, as well as being free of reproach for being unmerciful. We cannot blame him for anything. He he don't have sympathy. I mean, I told he don't have a connection with individual. According to our deeds, we get the fruits. He don't. This refers to also a verse 5 of this chapter. So in the fifth verse also, Pashame Yogam. So he has means Pashame Yogam Aishwaram. We can see his power in the or behold the supreme extraordinary potencies. So he has created nature, everything. So Pashame Yogam Aishwaryam, or behold the supreme extraordinary potentials. The miracle works who projects all the cosmos is a Maya, the supreme Lord, external illusionary energy, which is contained in the compound word my adhyaksha, which represents him. So what else is Maya when used in conjunction with the Supreme Lord other than his Prakriti, for he is the source of it. So this is according to the Vedic scriptures, the Supreme Lord's unequaled sovereign mystery. So this is about Vedic scripture state. This one, he has so much power. He is infallible will, and his unexcelled dominant over all, as well as being ever free of reproach for being merciful. Again, I'll read about Swami Adi Devananda. My Prakriti looked by me through my will and under my supervision creates the world with its mobile and immobile beings in accordance with the karma of individual selves. So he just supervised, he witnessed according to our karma, individual selves. Because of this, namely, my look at Prakriti is conformity with the karma of individual selves, the world revolves. So declare the Shrutis, the possessor of Maya projects the inverse out of this. The other individual is confined by Maya in the world. One should know the Maya to be the Prakriti and the possessor of Maya to be the mighty Lord. So I'll just conclude. So finally, he just witnessed whatever we do. He don't have any sympathy, or he won't interfere in anything. According to our individual karma, will take birth again and again. He just involved in the creation and destruction and sustenance only. He won't interfere in any other things. He has set some rules. According to that, everything works. The nature he has created, nature takes care of everything, and he has no connection with the nature also. The rule, according to rules, everything works. Any questions?
Sai Ram, Madam Sarda Hatti, as I suggested, let us combine the question and answers at the
At the
end
end.
of Sai Swarup's offering.
Okay.
Sai Ram. That way we'll save time and also have some continuity, because it's just under one subject of Bhagavad Gita.
Sai Swarup, are you there?
Sairam, auntie, can you hear me, Sairam?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, you can start your presentation.
Sure. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just try to present my screen. So we were talking about the various ways, the aspects of God that we use to describe Him. So first, 1 minute. It's loading a bit slowly, Sairam. So we had basically the three names of God, and then the 8 aspects that we use to describe God. So we completed up till okay, I think it's not loading. Maybe we can start with Nirguna. The fourth aspect is Nirguna. And then what Swami says is the fourth expression that Swami uses is he is subtler than the subtle. So actually, Krishna answers Arjuna saying that maybe you are thinking that subtle means something microscopic or small in nature, but that's not the case. The expression subtler than the subtle means devoid of qualities or nirguna, something that you cannot fathom with the help of the eye, the ear, and the rest of the senses. A thing becomes subtler with the reduction of its characteristic. If it has more, it is less subtle. So here, what Swami says is, what Arjuna actually asks Swami is, you mentioned that you are subtler than the subtlest, and you are actually grosser than the grossest also. Like you are both macroscopic and microscopic. But then Swami says that the term subtle or microscopic is not what defines me. He says that devoid of qualities or nirguna, so that something that cannot be actually perceived by the senses is also known as nirguna. So that's what makes it subtle. Then Swami continues: sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. These are the characteristics for the five elements, which are ether, air, fire, water, and earth. Like ether is associated with shabda or sound, and then air is associated with touch, sparsha, and fire is associated with sight. We are able to see it. Water has taste, and the earth has smell. So what Swami says is the earth has all five characteristics, and the water has only four, fire has three, air has two, and ether has only one. So just as we discussed, ether only has sound, air has both sound and touch, fire has sound, touch, and sight, and then water has four, which is also the taste, and earth has smell also. So the Swami says each one of these is subtler than the rest, and the ether is the most subtle, that is the subtlest of all these five. So this is self-evident. Earth is just stationary, water is subtler, so it flows. Fire is even more subtler than water, so it rises up. Air, which is even more subtle, can travel on all the sides. It does not have any one-side restriction. And then we have ether, which has one characteristic, sound. It has no form, touch, taste, or scent. The Lord, who is beyond even these five elements, has none of the characteristic. So he is subtler than the subtlest. He is all pervasive. He is immanent in all. It is the characteristic that makes a thing heavy. So the Lord has no such burden. So he is subtler than everything else. So here, what Swami compares is, he says that we think that when something has more and more characteristics, it becomes more powerful or significant or big or something like that. But that's not the case. In fact, when we lose each characteristic, like Earth has all five, but it is stationary, then water is capable of flowing, but it loses one of the characteristics, which is smell. So then the same way, when you lose more and more characteristic, fire can rise up, and then air can be travel in every direction, and then the ether is everywhere. So Lord is something that is even more subtler than that. By this analysis, we can try to understand that such is the pervasiveness of the Lord, so that He is everywhere, even where something that ether cannot have. So when we lose more characteristics, we lose that weight, and that is how we lose the burden, and we also can be similar to the Lord. So here Swami talks about the nirguna aspect in these two shlokas. In 14th chapter, that is the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the end of it, the 26th and the 27th shlokas. So Swami says, Maam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samatityaitan Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So here Mam means me, and again Cha is only, Yaha is who, Avyabhicharena is unalloyed or uncontaminated, Bhakti Yogena is that through such uncontaminated devotion, Sevate is serving, Saha is they, and they or he or she. So Gunan is the three modes of material nature, Samatitya is to rise above, and Etan means these all, and Brahma Bhuyaya is the level of the Brahma, and the level of the Brahman. Kalpate is he comes to the level of Brahman. So what Swami says is, those who serve me with unalloyed devotion rise above the three modes of material nature and come to the level of the Brahman. That is the only thing that we talked about in the previous chapter. So when Swami says, when we lose more and more qualities, then that is how we become subtler than everything, and that is the same thing that is reiterated here. And then Swami talks about himself. He says, uh, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya avyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya aikantikasya cha. So here what Swami says is Brahmanaha is of Brahman, he is only, Pratishtha is the basis, and Aham is I, Amritasya is of the immortal or of Amrita, Avyayasya is the imperishable, Cha is and, Shashvatasya means eternal, and Cha is again and, Dharmasya is of Dharma, Sukhasya is of bliss, Aikantikasya is of the ending, of unending. And so what Swami says is, he is the basis of the formless Brahman, the immortal and the imperishable, and that which is the eternal Dhamma, and that which is the unending divine bliss. So here Swami basically says that I am the Nirguna Brahma, which is the basis of everything, and which is the basis of even bliss also. So I think these two slokas give a detailed meaning into what Swami tries to say in these in this topic of Nirguna or the Nirguna Brahman, without qualities, Brahman, how he exists in the form of Brahman. In last week we discussed about the Saguna aspect. So here Nirguna aspect comes in the picture. Then the fifth expression is Sarvadhara. So next about the fifth expression, the basis of all are Sarvadhara. So here there are two categories. The first one is the basis Adhara and the based Adeya. So the container and the thing contained. The based is all that is seen by the eye or heard by the ear. Why? The entire creation is composed of the five elements. Well, all five elements are also the base, since they are based on the basis, that is Brahman. Brahman is the only basis. It is not based on another entity, for there is no second. Therefore, he is the basis of all. The 27th shloka again. So here what Swami says is, he is the Pratishtha, he is the basis of everything. So the same thing he makes in the term Sarvadhara. Then next one is the Brahman. That is again, it is related to both the shlokas 26 and 27. So here Swami says, the sixth two I shall make clear to you. The sixth is an unpicturable form, a form that cannot be delineated or imagined. For he is beyond the reach of the mind, and it is the mind that pictures, delineates or imagines. So his form is incapable of being imagined by the mind. You might hesitate to accept this. The mind is matter. It is inert, it is fleeting. But Brahman or the highest Atma is pure consciousness. Brahman is eternal, everlasting and imperishable. The Brahman and the mind are at opposite poles. The fleeting and the fixed are totally unrelated. One dies and the other remains. Inert and the active are unrelated. So here again Swami talks about the higher and the lower, that is Brahma, what can we say? That is the Jivatma and the Paramatma, the supreme consciousness, and that is the individual consciousness. So Swami says the mind is matter, so it is something inert, but Brahman is the Atma, the pure consciousness. Brahman is something that can never die, or which is without qualities, that is Nirguna that we talked about. And so mind has qualities and mind is material. So they are like opposite poles, and something that is, mind is something that is fleeting, or like something that can disappear in a point of time, just like the body. And the fixed is the Brahman aspect. So one dies and the other remains. So these two are unrelated, is what Swami says. Again, he reiterates. Then Swami talks about what should spiritual aspirants do. Oh, they are not deprived of hope. Let them picture the highest Atma as unpicturable. That is enough. Dwell on such thoughts as this, and the fruit will be vouchsafed unto you. Aspirants must learn the channels along which the thoughts should run. At this, Arjuna pleaded with Krishna thus, Lord, let us proceed. Time is running fast. We cannot be stationary in this battlefield without assuming responsibility or making a decision. War is facing us with open jaws. ready to swallow and overwhelm. I am ready to obey the instruction you may be pleased to give me. Only let there be no delay. Hence, quickly enlighten about the seventh attribute of with quality without form. That is Saguna Nirakara. We go into the Saguna aspect. So here, Swami says, Swami continues saying that we should dwell on the thoughts that the Atma is unpicturable and something that is unrealizable. So we should we can just think of the Atma something that can be not realized by the senses. But then with this in this track, if we proceed, then we can go and reach the place that we want to reach. And then at this point, Arjuna says that okay, let's go a bit faster so that we can move on to the Saguna Nirakara aspect again. And after that, we can directly go for the war because it is almost time. So at which we have this Purusha Suktam verse that we have Veda Hametam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. So here Swami says that I have known that great Purusha or the Supreme Being who is brilliant like the sun and who is beyond all darkness. So the last two topics are Aditya and Tamasaha Parastat is what Swami says. Swami says the seventh is with the splendor of the sun as his complexion. That is again the Saguna with qualities but Nirakara without form. So here he is the self-effulgent as the sun. He is independent. He is the source of the light he shines with. So even the light that is the light that the Lord is also directly the source. He is the source of the very light that he is shining brightly, and then he is the effulgence of the sun. He makes the sun shine. So he is named as Sun or Aditya. And then Swami says, I shall tell you about the eighth also straight away. Beyond darkness or tamasa parastat, he is the witness of darkness or ignorance. For para means beyond, unaffected, and there is no darkness is as dark as ignorance. It is so deep and so dangerous. Delusion or maya is another word for this ignorance. So go beyond darkness means beyond delusion. So here Swami says that tamasa parastat is the aspect that is beyond maya or beyond delusion. So someone who is bright and beyond delusion is known as Aditya and Tamasaha Parastat. Then Arjuna, just close your eyes for a moment. What do you experience? Complete darkness, right? How did you know that it is dark? You cannot see darkness. Then how did you announce that there was darkness there? Two entities are there, darkness and the one who sees the darkness, right? So if you are yourself darkness, how can you see the darkness? No, you are the seer. You are not darkness. Darkness is that which is seen. The seer is you and you are the witness. Now consider another fact. People often condemn themselves as ignoramuses, but if they are really ignoramuses or fools, how could they recognize their own ignorance? From where did people get that knowledge? When did that wisdom enter and how? So here Swami talks about how if we close our eyes, we feel that we are in darkness, but if we experience darkness, that means we are not dark, right? The darkness is that which is being experienced, so that means we should be light. So Swami says that we have that wisdom and the ignorance is something that we realize by ourselves. But if we are really ignorant, then we won't be realizing that ignorant. So if we are really darkness, then we won't be able to experience the darkness around us. 1 minute, Saina. Ignorance, ajnana, is the seen, and inner wisdom, jnana, is the seer. You are the vision, drik, that sees the object, drishya, or ignorance. In the same way, all the 8 descriptions above have to be contemplated upon. That is the correct meditation of the form of the Lord. Arjuna asked, Krishna, is such meditation enough by itself or has it to be supplemented? So when here we discussed about the 8 aspects of the Lord, but Arjuna asks about the way to worship Lord beyond these contemplations. So we go into the topic of how to what devotion consists of and how we should actually worship the Lord. So here Swami replies, of course, when this meditation is practiced, care should be taken to see that the mind is concentrated on that thing only. It should not pursue diverse objectives. It must attach itself to the one supreme with love and devotion. Usually, a person's love gets fastened on trifling temporary things and thus gets entangled in setbacks and sorrows. So, the love has to be withdrawn from such objects and centered on the Lord. So here Swami says that we should practice concentration and we should not pursue other things while concentrating on the Lord. So love and devotion are two main aspects that we have to take care of. So Swami goes into devotion. I shall tell you briefly what devotion consists of. Listen, devotion is the complete identification of one's mental activities of the ideal on which this attachment is centered. So here Swami says that we should we should completely identify our mental, the inner antakarana with whatever that we are focusing on or whatever is the object of pursuit. That is the like whatever that we are seeking, that should be fully concentrated, and our entire antakarana should spend its entire like energy on that. So that is how we should practice devotion. So at this point, Arjuna asks the Lord, how is it even possible, Lord? So at this point, Swami explains, it is possible, Arjuna. So first we have to control the senses, and then we should make the mind be effaced as much as possible. Then the third is we should let the heart be purified. Fourth is let the vital airs be uplifted into the highest regions of the head. That is the Sahasrara chakra that we talked about in the previous to last session. And then the fifth is the individual should be established in the Atmic truth. And the sixth is the Om to be the only point of attention at the moment when the breath leaves the body. So one who does this comes to me and joins with me. Their mental activities become the same as mine. So here Swami says we should do all these things in order. The first is we have to control the senses. Second is we have to end the mind that Swami talks about. Bend the body, mend the senses, and end the mind. So we have to end the mind. Third is we should have a pure heart and we should make the heart pure. And the fourth is we have to, the Jnana Vahini aspect that Swami talks about, we have to sit in the posture and we have to make sure that the Kundalini Shakti rises up to the Sahasrara chakra. And the fifth is we should be established in the Atmic truth. And the sixth is we have to chant Om very regularly, and we have to practice this over and over and over in such a way that when the breath leaves the body, that is when we die, we should be able to chant Om and we should be able to experience that Om in within us. So when we do this, we will be able to go back to the Lord and at the point of death. And also what Swami says is our mental activities which are during our lifetime will be in consonance with the divine will. So that is what Swami says about devotion. So I think we have two more topics to cover in this chapter, Sairam. I think we can cover it during our next session, next Thursday. That is next Friday, India time.
So, Sai Swarup, Sairam, Sai Swarup, it appears you have continued on chapter 16 in Gita Vahini. Am I right? Yeah. So that's good. So
I explained about chapter 9 and verse 10, Uncle.
correct. I'm just referring to that verse as well. So let me ask both of you and all of the ones in the audience. We have both Sharda Hati as well as Sai Swarup have referred to this word Lord, Lord, so many times. So what do we understand by that word Lord? which would help us really practice that understanding. And as Swami says, after you understand, you become one with it. You adjust yourself, your awareness, to become one with that understanding. So, what is that understanding? We uh, we arrive at, or we keep progressing to understand, or arrive into our understanding. It's a process of maturing the understanding. So what do we do? What is it?
Um, so according to this verse and what I understood is, Lord is he is a supervisor. Um, he has created the world and prakriti also. Whatever if we do puja, if we involve ourselves in satsang and everything, we get positive energy and everything. If we do bad karmas, we suffer. He don't have anything to do like with individuals. He has just created the prakriti world. He has set rules. According to that, everything happens. He has created it because there was no one to praise him about the prakriti and everything. He has created a human beings. We should praise his nature and everything. So that's the reason. Is
Is good. It is very pretty contrived, I find. Not that I am getting judgmental. Can we simplify that understanding? Suppose a child were to come and ask, mother, you are saying, you using this word Lord, Lord, Lord so many times. So what are you deriving from that usage of the word? What are you referring to? How is it practically assisting you in your being you?
Yeah, if we are teaching to kids, then I'll say that there is someone who is beyond all of us, who is watching us. So you always do the good things. So don't think that if you hide something from parents or teachers, it is you are not punished. For kids, for my daughter, I'll teach like that.
Yeah, it appears abstract, but it is so simple. I think at least in my understanding, I kept on washing the linen, as we say. Um, so I just don't want to influence, but this Lord, Lord, is used in many, many scriptures as well. For instance, Bible uses it very often, and so on. Every scripture of uh, what shall we say, an individual who is seeking the understanding of the abstract nature of the leader who is witnessing, and yet by the vision and the power of the witness, that is Shabda Swarupam, vibrations. So this Supreme Being, as a Sai Swarup referred to, let me get to that exact text, as he said. In Swami's words, so Arjuna says, Lord, let us proceed. So he has a certain understanding and vision that comes out of the previous paragraph was Sai Swarup was referring to, namely, what then is the sadhaka to do? That all of them, like Arjuna, who is a sadhaka there, let him picture the Paramatma as unpicturable. You see, this is the homework that Sri Krishna is promoting, and that prompts Arjuna to come up with that expression, Lord. So this supreme consciousness or the Paramatma principle as unpicturable. So to dwell on such thoughts as this, and the fruit will be vouchsafed unto you. So, like Sri Krishna says, Karma Yogam, do your duty. So he's saying, dwell on such thoughts. What thoughts? Thoughts, that is, thoughts are means a web of mind such that you have the grasp or a hold on this unpicturable picture of the Paramatma. That is what he is referring to is the relationless relationship. It is contradicting one with the other. However, when the sadhaka dwells and draws upon the light and the Shabda Swarupam of the unpicturable, of the supreme consciousness, it leads the mind into a meditative inner calmness and gets more and more out of the light of the unpicturable. That is a homework. Without doing that homework, saying Lord, 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 it just goes on just an empty outside noise. Then he proceeds to the enlightenment, meaning the mind gets light. It has dropped all the heaviness and the burden of the world. Here again, we are using the word world. What understanding do we carry? World. To me, it refers to the homework that each one of us must have done with respect to the identity. That is what Swami says as, who am I? So the identity I, that is going to enlighten, that is gradually unload the bags and baggages of multiplicities, right? Gradually it comes in the mind, draws itself to duality, and from the duality comes to the unity with the unpicturable picture and resonance of the Shabda Brahman and reflection through which it gets the enlightenment, that is the Buddha Nirvana. See, I have thrown so many words, but each of them promotes a certain inner homework, right? That homework is very essential, and to reach that abstract status of that oneness with the Paramatma. And then we say Paramatma, which is the royal secret, which is why we read this chapter 9, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, means Vidya, very special Dhyanam or meditative oneness, which takes the mind to its regal status, which means it becomes the Raja of the ignorant minds. Some call it as a dotted mind, and the Raja, the royal mind, as the capitalized I mind. So the identity is loud and clear to the mind within itself because of undertaking all this homework that is, so to say, buried in these syllogistic expressions of Sri Krishna. Anyway, I hope it has helped somewhat.
Yes, uncle. Thank you.
Yes, yes, Uncle. Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram. You know, Sharda Hatti and Sai Swarup, I just would like to talk to both of you just for a couple of minutes after you conclude the session with the Om.
Sure, sure.
Sure, sure.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram to all.
Sai Ram,
Sai
Sai Ram,
Ram,
Uncle. Sai Ram.
Sai
Sai Ram,
Ram,
Sai Ram,
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram to all.